Hi, I'm Paul from Find My Footwear, and today we're looking at the Glycerin family of shoes from Brooks. The Glycerin has for a long time been the brand's range-topping, plush cushioned neutral shoe, and for 2026 we now have the Glycerin 23. Now, 23 versions of a shoe proves that it's a very popular model and does a really good job. And it's for a very long time been one of the best neutral cushion daily trainers on the market, full stop. We also have the GTS version. Now, the GTS go-to support guide rail technology system. That's a supportive version of the Glycerin. So we've got Glycerin, Glycerin GTS. And last year, in 2025, we had the introduction of the Glycerin Max, and for 2026, recently been updated with the Glycerin Max 2. And just this month, we're joined to complete the family, if you like, with the Glycerin Flex. So very different shoes if you look at the Flex compared to the Max, with the Glycerin and Glycerin GTS sat somewhere in between. So let's have a look at each of the models, see what features they share and which one you should choose. First up, the Glycerin Max 2. Now this, if you like, the second generation Glycerin Max, it's the brand's highest stack cushioned neutral shoe. It's a daily trainer and it features the nitrogen injected midsole DNA tuned. Now, DNA tuned is nitrogen injected, and it's a process that has larger cells in the heel for a softer impact, softer cushion feel, and more responsive, smaller cells in the forefoot. So it's a very balanced ride, it's smooth and propulsive. Now, in the Glycerin Max, it's a high stack model. We've got 45mm in the heel, 39 stack in the forefoot, a 6mm drop. Weighs in 11 ounces in the men's, 10 ounces in the women's model. So it's not the lightest shoe on the market, but for such a well-cushioned shoe, I think the weight somehow, because the shoe is nicely balanced, it disappears on the foot. So the Glycerin Max is for someone who just prioritises lots and lots of cushioning and a smooth riding experience. And the DNA tuned material that it has features across the Glycerin range of shoes. So softer in the heel, more responsive in the forefoot. In the Glycerin Max, we've got this aggressive toe off. I say aggressive, but it rides very smoothly. And because of the thick forefoot cushioning, I think you need a more aggressive forefoot locker to kind of roll your foot down the road to encourage it into a smoother toe off and a smoother ride. Other features: triple jacquard knit upper, very snug, very wraparound feel around the foot, and typical of Brooks, high quality, very plush, lots of padding in the tongue, ankle collar and heel tab, flares away from the Achilles, just a very comfortable, well-fitting shoe. So Glycerin Max, smooth riding, daily trainer, max cushioning. Glycerin 23, well, more of the same, but a little bit lower stack and a little bit lighter. Here we've got a 38mm heel, 34 foot, 8mm drop. Men's weighs in at 10.6 ounces, 9.6 ounces for the women's, so a little bit lighter, but still a great everyday neutral cushion shoe. The same DNA tuned, nitrogen injected midsole. I think it's just a little bit more versatile. It's a little bit more of a familiar feel to the Glycerin. You also have the Glycerin GTS. And the difference with the GTS is the guide rail technology system. Now, guide rails are essentially an extension of the midsole foam. It comes up around the medial and lateral side of the rear foot of the shoe, and if your foot wants to supinate or pronate, it cups the heel, sits it in the middle of the shoe, provides a very general, balanced, all-round stable feel. That said, the regular Glycerin is a very stable shoe, as is the Max. And that's thanks to the broader base that the shoes have, which creates a little bit more stability. I think in the Glycerin Max as well, being a slightly lower heel drop, 6mm, compared to the 8mm, the regular Glycerins, that adds a little bit more of a balanced feel. But ultimately, your Glycerin is for someone who likes the soft cushioning, wants a relatively propulsive springy toe off wants a durable, versatile, everyday trainer, and in the GTS, if you want a stable version of that, so you want something with a little bit more support. The Glycerin Flex, new for 2026, is where we see something pretty different, and this new member of the Glycerin family is surprisingly flexible. You'll have seen a lot of Instagrammers and TikTok people, is that what they're called, kind of flexing the shoe all over the place like this. Now that's great, and it is a very flexible shoe in your hand, but your foot really doesn't flex to that extent. That said, your foot works with the shoe and it allows the foot to flex as much as it wants to. It's a light, soft and responsive neutral shoe. It weighs in at 9.1 ounces, 8 ounces in the women's, and it's a 6mm drop again. So 36 in the heel, 30 in the forefoot, 6mm drop. So a little bit lower, but it is a very cushioned, very responsive ride. It's also, despite that mega flexibility, it's a very stable shoe. And I think that comes from the fact that the shoe allows the foot to function naturally and it balances itself. DNA nitrogen injected foam all the way through the shoe, soft in the heel, springy in the forefoot again, but just a super flexible, super responsive ride. Now it is a daily trainer for someone who wants something a little bit lighter and a little bit more ground feel, shall we say, if you can have that in a 30mm stack shoe. I've been wearing it as my speedwork shoe. It just felt fast, and since I got the shoe in mid or early December, in fact, I've done every speedwork session in this shoe. After 1 mile running in the shoe, it felt so responsive. It meant that I didn't have to go to plated carbon shoes, and I've been able to run, gosh, I've been doing like 2 mile efforts in 5:30 pace down to 1 minute intervals at 5 minute mile pace, and it's felt super responsive. It's really complemented my stride, and it really feels very smooth, very balanced, and like I said, incredibly stable. It's a knitted kind of upper to the shoe. It's like a sock. It wraps around the foot. It's got a lot of stretch to it, and that complements that flexible feel to the shoe. So the Glycerin Flex is a really surprising shoe. I've also, when chatting to a few customers, I kind of thought because of that flexibility, if you do a lot of gym work as well, then it might be useful. And I've had a few Hyrox competitors, if you like, choose the shoe because they felt that you had the light, flexible, responsive cushioning for the running element of Hyrox, and because of the forefoot flex, it allowed them to kind of adapt to the various workstations, the sled pull and things like that, very close fit, but a lot of good ground contact and allowing the foot to really flex and work and push against the ground. So a very interesting shoe, incredibly flexible, incredibly responsive, and like I say, my go-to speedwork shoe. I won't be racing in the shoe, but for good long interval sessions and on the treadmill, it's been amazing, and so far it's my shoe of the year. So there we have it. You've got the Glycerin Flex for ground feel, responsive and flexible shoe, the Glycerin Flex. For the ultimate in cushioning, the Glycerin Max. And if you want something in between, the Glycerin 23. Either the GTS if you want a little bit of support, or the regular just Glycerin 23 if you want a neutral, versatile daily trainer. So the Glycerin family, I can't say it's complete. Who knows what Brooks will introduce next year, but for now I think there is something for everybody, and it's probably the best kind of family of shoes around in terms of cushioning and responsive, durable cushioning. I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions on this one, so put them in the comments below and I always endeavour to respond to them. Thanks for watching, give us a thumbs up and please do subscribe to the channel. But for now, thank you very much.